Hi, I'm Tom Laux, Communications Director, City of Marshfield, and thank you for joining me. Today I have our library staff, Lori, with me, the current library director, and the new incoming director, Jill Porter. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes, and there's going to be some change coming up with the opening of the library and some new rules that are probably going to be happening because of COVID-19. And Lori, I want you to share those. This is a good time of what is going to be changing, and you can update the public on this.
Sure. We've been very conscious of safety of the community and the staff as we go forward with this plan. We plan to reopen on Friday, May 29th at 9 a.m. And we have some unusual things that we're doing with regard to the services and when they're available as a means to make sure that the public is safe as we can make it. So we are going to be encouraging, physical distancing through signage, and also by monitoring the number of people that come into the building. We're going to be limiting it to 60 at any one time. So it's a rolling 60. So as people come, we count them, and as they leave, we count them, and we can adjust the number of people in the building as time goes by. But we're also going to be limiting the number of hours that the library is open. So we'll be open from 9 till Monday through Friday. We'll be open 9 till noon. Then from noon to 1 o'clock, the library will close. We clean all the high-touch surfaces, the keyboards, the tables, all of the things that people put their hands on, the restrooms, all those counter spaces, and all of those types of things. And then reopen the library again from 1 to 4. Allow people to use those the library as normal. Close from 4 to 5. Do the cleaning again. Open from 5 to 8. And then close at 8 o'clock. On Saturdays, we'll be open from 9 to noon and 1 to 4, with cleaning happening in between. So we want you to know that if you sit down at a table in that 3-hour period and that table hasn't been cleaned, you can ask us to do that, and we will send someone over and we'll wipe things down for you. But if you don't, we can't, with the size of the staff we have, and even if we have just 60 people in the building, it's really hard for us to monitor what's happening at all times. So that's the plan at this point. If someone asks us to retrieve material from the stacks for them, we're happy to do that. And we will sanitize it as before we hand it over to you. At the pickup window, it will always, and we will have that service running throughout the day, even during those times when we close. If somebody wants to drive up and pick something up, they can do that. The only thing is you have to put it on hold in advance. But you do that either through the phone, through the online system, or you can send us an email. So those are all things, and then we would have the item waiting for you at the checkout, the pickup window, I'm sorry. We have installed guards, plexiglass guards at the checkout areas and at the service desks for your protection as well as the staff's. We're asking, we're also asking, we're also asking people to wear a face mask. Our staff, anytime they're out in the public areas, will be wearing a face mask. Anytime they go into the stacks, they'll be wearing gloves. Now, however, we can't assure that everyone coming in is going to be as careful as we're going to be. So if you go into those stacks and you retrieve something, you do take on a certain amount of risk. If you send us to do it and we sanitize it, you kind of minimize that risk quite a bit. Even more so if you've put the item on hold and it's waiting for you at the pickup window. So we're trying to do as much as we can. The staff is going to be receiving some specialized training in terms of the cleaning, also in service provision as well. As I said, we're going to be encouraging people to wear masks. We will have masks available for the public to use if they don't have one of their own. I can't say that they're not medical masks. They're just a a face mask that will protect them and the staff. We did have a conversation, staff is a little concerned as well for their own health, that if somebody needs assistance, say at a computer, that's something very hard to give at a 6-foot distance. And if someone wants help at a computer, the staff is going to ask them to wear a mask so that they can come in close enough to really give good assistance. And so those are things that we're looking at as well. We're also, the cleaning that we normally do within the library, we use hospital grade materials, that's cleaning materials and sanitizing materials. We've been doing that for years. And so the cleaning materials we're using in the process isn't that much different. However, the staff doing the cleaning during the day is going to be very different from the ones that do it in the early morning. So we want everybody to be using the same processes. We have some protections in place in terms of staff monitoring themselves and their own health as they go by. We're asking them every day to take their temperature, work their way through the list of symptoms of COVID-19, and not come to work. If you're not feeling well, don't come to work. The thing about this is we're all going to be protecting each other. We're going to be relying on the visitors that come to the library to do the same. If you're not feeling well, please don't come, because you're putting the other people in the library at risk as well as the staff. If a staff member would come down with COVID-19, we're checking into exactly whether or not, and it probably would shut the entire library down for 14 days. And that means the pickup would go away as well, because there wouldn't be anybody to administer it. So we're trying to be very careful, and we're asking the public to be as careful as they can be as well. We won't be insisting that someone wear a mask, but we are going to have them available for them and encourage them to wear one.
You have a lot of stuff on your plate, Lori, and a lot of good information.
It's juggling right now is what's going on. And we're checking with the Wood County Health Department and all the various CDC recommendations and WEDC. And I could go through the whole alphabet of organizations that we're using to try to develop a plan that keeps everyone safe.
Now, you're governed by a board, and I'm sure a lot of these decisions were also made with the board's approval. So you had your meeting earlier this week, I believe, and
Tuesday at 7 a.m.
And all that has been approved and ready to go probably by that group.
Right. Okay. And they did allow for the guideline and plan to be flexible enough to adapt to new information as it comes. I think that's the most important part, is that if we learn something, and that's what libraries do better than anybody else, is learn as we go. If we learn something, then we're going to incorporate that and make a better plan, or to move forward in a better manner.
Yeah, definitely. Services that you used to provide, for instance, games for kids and workshops or things like that, those probably are not going to take place. Is that correct?
The in-person programming has been put on hold. And we will reevaluate that month by month as time goes by. I think we're going to learn a lot in the next 4 weeks, and that will, kind of shape everything going forward. It'll shape the decisions and recommendations that Jill brings to the board for the next meeting. We're very concerned, and we want to make sure that people are safe. We're also going to continue to take advantage of what we've learned while we've been closed. We learned how to deliver story times and craft programs and group meetings for library programs through Zoom and through Facebook Live and all kinds of other tools that we're adapting now. And some of those things are virtual trivia night. We learned a lot more than some others. Some were a little easier to administer, and so as we go, we're looking for other new ways to deliver those same services and to make sure that the library continues to bring everything it can to the community.
All right. Well, I'll bring Jill in here in a few minutes, but I have one more question. When people come in on that day when you open, are they going to see something different, furniture? What are they going to see so they're aware when they come
Very
in?
good. That's a very good question. In order to help people with the physical distancing, we've removed a lot of the seating just to make sure that that happens just automatically. People don't have to think twice about it. If there's one chair at a table, well, that's the number of chairs you have at the table, and that we know keeps people safer. So we've done a lot of we've removed that furniture just to make sure that that happens the way it should. We have a behavior policy. We hope that everyone will abide by it. That means that, that if someone's sitting in an area, that they don't pull a chair over unless they're perhaps in the same family. They're already, if a family comes, they're already accustomed to sitting close to each other, and they're not going to be bringing anything new to each other. But the idea is not to have it cross and bring something new home with someone that, isn't in the same family.
Yeah, that'll be difficult, but I know your staff is aware of a lot of the patrons that always do come, the regulars I'll call.
Yes.
And I think that'll help. I guess I said one last question. I'll ask another. How many employees that are going to be, are you going to be full staffed again, or are you?
We're going to be playing that by ear a little bit, but I think what we're going to be doing is spacing out the staff a little bit more, although generally our regular hours do that all by themselves, because in the summertime we're open 68 hours a week. Well, with the staff of about 33 individuals, and that's a 20 people FTE, they're not all here at the same time anyway. So, and we're all actually kind of trying to, segregate people a little bit more so that there's a little less interaction between the staff members as well. And we will not have meeting rooms open. We just can't see a good way to make that happen at this point. Again, as we see things progress and as Jill sees things progress, there'll come a time where it makes sense, and then that will happen. But right now it doesn't make sense.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Well, your time as a director is going to be ending not too long. It's just sad, but we have a new director coming in your place, and she's with us today. And later on in another program, if our audience is watching, we're going to be doing another interview about Get to Know Jill. Great. And Jill is on here from Michigan, I believe. She's at her current residence over across the big lake, I think, if I'm right.
I am.
All right. And, how is it going between the conversations between you and Lori and the board and what's going to be happening? I guess I'm not even sure if you're, are you officially employed right now, or maybe that's, I'm just curious how that works. It's a little harder at this time. You probably would have been here by now if it wasn't for COVID-19. But my question is how's it going? And when are we going to see you here?
Well, it's going well. Michigan is a little bit more of a challenge, I think, than Wisconsin's been in terms of safer at home and stay at home orders. But, I was hoping to be in Marshfield on April 15th. And not long after Lori and I first discussed me coming over, the safer at home orders came down, and she called and said, do you mind if I delay until June 6th? And we agreed that it was really a good tactic to take. And so, the Wednesday after Memorial Day, I'll be headed your way, and we'll be starting June 1st. so that I can have a few days of overlap with Lori before she leaves. But in the meantime, I've been the fly on the wall for a lot of staff meetings and a couple of board meetings, and have been really, really impressed with all the thought that's gone into planning for reopening and handling all the different changes that come down. And excuse me, I'm losing my voice, from the CDC and those orders. So it'll be interesting.
It will. Thank you for that, and we look forward to meeting you. And after this program, we'll actually be filming our get to know you, and I'm hoping that'll provide some information for our public to get to see you before they actually see you in the library, and welcome you into our great community of Marshfield. Right. And but yes, back to the library of opening here coming up next week already, because June is almost here, and Memorial Day, which is seems to be earlier this year, but it's really not. It's just the way the calendar falls, I believe. So there is one more Monday, I think, if I'm right, in that month, but usually it's never the last Monday of the month. But so I know one thing, Lori, that you're working on really good communication internally, so that the message is spread for internal staff and the same message. I think that's so important in this time, so there's no confusion.
Sure, and we really appreciate the communication department of the city assisting us with that by videotaping the training that we're going to be giving. As you said, the best part is that everyone will hear the same set of instructions and see the same set of instructions, and it allows us to do that, and the individuals can view it when it's convenient for them. Also, otherwise we'd pull the whole staff together and have one big meeting. That means too many people are in one place, and too many people are exposed to each other. And so thank you so much for allowing us to take advantage of the technology that's available, so that we can make sure that everyone gets what they need.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Our job here is partially to help internal staff with communications, as well as communications out to the public of all the city departments, as well as public access. So we got quite a bit on our plate for two people, but that's all right. It keeps us busy and out of trouble. How about that? We don't have time to think about getting in trouble or creating any kind of drama, I shall say. But anyway, I guess what I want to leave this with here, Lori, is I'm sure we'll chat again. I'm hoping to do that after a while and see where you're at, and let the public know in your retirement coming up. But we're going to let you rest for a while after June, and see how Jill, if she needs you or wherever she does, that's going to be her ship to run here coming up here in less than, a little more than 2 weeks, right, Jill?
June 6th.
June 6th. You have you met the staff, or is it all of it been, your interviewing all been over like a Zoom meeting?
No, I actually was able to come out for my interview because that was prior to the shutdown. So I have met many of the board members as well as the staff. So.
Okay, well, that's good. And you got to see the building you get to work in, which
Beautiful.
Is one of the better, I should say, most delightful buildings that are available here in the city, and they're very accommodating to your guests. And I think it's nice now to have that in this time because you can spread people out a lot more than you probably could have in the past. So anything else, Lori, that you want to mention in our program here about the opening, or anything of how people should maybe act or clean their books or materials? I'll leave that to you.
Well, I think if people use our pickup service, they can be assured that they have been sanitized and are we've wiped down the jackets. We couldn't possibly do every single page, but they have everything returning, and everything on our stacks has been through a quarantine period. That's another piece of the puzzle. We will be quarantining all materials that as they return for 96 hours, which is a full day beyond what the CDC has told us for items that have plastic. A book or paper and cardboard, generally the virus can live for a single day, but we wrap almost everything we have in a Mylar jacket, or plastic for the media items. So we're doing one day better than the 72 hours that we've been told is what's, to be expected. So that in that respect, so if you pick it up at the window, it's been through a quarantine and the items have had a sanitizing of their exterior. If you come and you just pulled something off the stacks, well, someone else may have been there before you and touched it. That we can't always assure. And so if you want us to wipe it down, we'll do that before you take it home. Or I would just say treat it like anything that you would going to the grocery store or any other retail outlet. If you're bringing it home and I'm not going to tell you that you have to, but that the recommendation is that you give them a thorough, decent, clean, a cleaning using perhaps a bleach solution. That the information is out on the CDC website, letting people know how to create those solutions that will allow them to clean. So we would recommend that you do that with what's available to you. And I'm sorry, my phone's ringing in the background here.
No worries. You're a busy person.
That's the time we live in right now. So
no.
We just want everybody to be safe. And if you've got questions, please ask us. We'll do everything we can to answer your questions. And if you have suggestions of things that maybe we haven't thought of, we'll take those under consideration too. I'd like to think we've been through all the authoritative sites, but I think somebody's always got another idea.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one nice thing about libraries is newspapers. I'm still a newspaper guy that likes those. Are those going to be available from all the area?
Newspapers and magazines will be available.
Okay.
Those would be very much, I would say the instructions for those would, the caution and the instructions for those would be very much the same as for anything that you would pull off the shelves. Know that someone else may have handled it before you. Those we can't wipe down. To do that, it would just destroy them.
Yeah, definitely in a newsprint. And I don't think it would last too long without any kind of sanitation.
The other thing, though, I would say is a lot of our resources are available online. So those things are available to you without having to handle them too.
Yes, definitely.
So the News Herald is making their paper available without charge right now online.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
And typically that's not one that we have, but.
Okay, great. And then you're not going to be opening on Sunday, is that correct?
Actually, we're rolling right into what is our normal summer set of hours. And so we don't have Sunday hours in the summertime, and we close an hour earlier. So we'll be closing at 8. So it worked out quite well. I mean, if anything worked out well, that worked out well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to leave it with, if you could give us the library phone number again, as well as a website, just in case people right now are watching and have a paper and pen and want to write that down and need to ask a question. Because right now, we're taping this in a regular weekday on a Wednesday. They're open for questions, even now.
Yeah. Absolutely. Open for questions. So our regular phone number is area code 715-387-8494. I wanted to make sure I didn't give you my home phone number. And then the library website is www.marshfieldlibrary, all one word, .org. And I will remind people, we use our Facebook page a lot to tell people what's going on. So if you use the Everett Roehl Marshfield Public Library, look for us on Facebook. You'll find a lot of information there as well.
A lot of areas, a lot of platforms nowadays to find information about the library. But
we've been working on a new webpage as well. And so I don't know that will roll out before I'm done. That was a goal, but sometimes we just don't hit all the marks. But that's also something that's in the works that we've been concentrating on right now.
That'll be exciting. And if I'm right, the utility went through a redesigned website and somewhat mirrored a little bit like that, maybe. I'm not sure,
Mhm.
but I know the company that worked on theirs is helping you guys out, I believe. And our city is actually also doing a website redesign that I'm doing as well. So, and Jill, thank you for joining me and both of us, I should say, and we welcome you aboard here when you get here June 6th. But like I said to our viewers, we're going to have a separate program here, so tune into that when you see that. Get to know Jill, our new library director. That's officially takes place on June 6th, but you've already been working quite a bit behind the scenes, on the fly in the wall, as you say.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Well, my countdown is saying 6 minutes left remaining. Otherwise, I have to upgrade my Zoom account since I'm using a free Zoom piece because our other ones are booked up. But I want to thank you for joining me, and our viewers get this information firsthand from both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, thanks again. I'm Tom Laux, Communications Director for the City of Marshfield.